Hi, my name is Andre and welcome at Your Guitar Workshop. In today's lesson, we're going to be looking at It's Never Too Late by Tommy Emmanuel. And this is part number 2. It's the last part. We're going to be wrapping up the tutorial. If you missed part 1 or you're interested in getting your hands on the tablature, make sure to check the links in the video description. Also, if you're into Tommy Emmanuel tutorials or any of that kind, then make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon, because that way you won't miss on future tutorials. So what is the stuff that I've done so far? I've done tutorials like Classical Gas, Angelina, Those Who Wait, Windy and Warm, and a bunch of others. So really, really nice stuff. Okay, so let's get right into it. I'll start by playing the first example, and then we'll get into how to play that on the guitar. Here we go. All right, so what do you play? So we'll start with that pickup bar that leads you into the bridge. And that goes like this. All right, so the chord that we're playing here is a very simple version of an E minor chord, just index finger in second position of your D string. And what's good to know is for this whole bridge, your ring finger will be playing the E string, middle finger will be playing B, index finger will be playing G, and your thumb will be playing the basses D, A, and E. So what are we playing there? We start off with playing E, G, D, high E, like that. Then we play again low E to third position high E, low E, and then playing seventh position of that high E, so like this. And this is where we start to transition into the actual bridge. And there we get that C major 7 13 chord, right? I'll play the next 3 bars for you, and then we'll get into how to play that on the guitar. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so what do you do? So when it comes to that chord, again, that's index finger in 7th of E, pinky is in 10th of B, middle finger is in 9th of G, ring finger in 10th of D, and your thumb is fretting 8th of your low E string. The picking pattern is E, G, D, B for the first half of the bar, and then you get E, G, D, E for the second half of the bar, so like this. Then you repeat that second half of the bar. And then lastly, you get E, G, D, G, right? So you get this. Then in that third bar, or to be more precise, bar 39 in the tablature, you get this part. So there you play both E strings together, thumb and ring finger. Then you play D, G, E, and then B, D, like that. Right? So if we play it with the pickup, you would get this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Then we move on to the B7 sus4, right? So that is index finger barring 7th position of all your strings. Pinky is on B10 and ring finger is on G9. So there we play the following picking pattern. We play. So what do you play there? You play both E strings together, Then you play D, B, and then E, G, D, right? Then you go back to your C713 chord, right? And there you play the following pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so what do? So first of all, you play E and E together, then D, G, E, and then you strum the D, G, and B string, right? So I get this. Okay, then you go to the next bar, and there you play E, E, D, G, E, E, D, G, like that. Right? Then in bar 43, you get this part. Right? So that is both E strings together. Then D, B, E, G, D, E. Right? So those 3 bars together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now there is something that I have to tell you. So when you play that last note, I'm sort of making it out to be as being part of the C713 chord, but actually that's where you should already have switched to your B7 chord. So that last bar of C7 to C major 7, sorry, to the B7 chord goes like this. So you get, right? And then just for that one note, you already switch to the B7. Once you have that B7, you play that high string, and then you play E, D, B, E, G, D, like this. Then we go back to the C major 713 chord, and there we play both E strings, then D, B, E, G, D, E, all right? Then you play again E, G, D, B, and then E, G, D. All right, so you get 2 bars of C major 13. Like that. Then we go to that A major add 9 with C sharp in the bass chord. So that would be barring D through E with our index finger. Pinky would be on B10, ring finger would be on G9, and your middle finger would be on E9. Like that, right? So there you play this. All right, so you play E and E together, then D, B, E, G, D. Going to D sus4, right? Basically having a D power chord, and adding your pinky on 8th of your B string, having an open G, right? You pluck those, and the D is with your index finger, middle finger G, and ring finger B there. Then you move your pinky to 7th position, and you play D, G, and B once more. And then you play with your thumb the A string, so like this. Going to C major 7. Right? So having that C power chord, open G string, middle finger on 3rd of your B string, and you pluck those 4 strings, making a hammer-on with your pinky on 5th of B. Then you pluck, without that pinky there, you pluck D, G, and B once more, playing the bass note, and then you strum the whole chord, including the high E strings, like this. Then what you do is you do sort of an upstroke and a downstroke on E and B strings, and then you get 2 downstrokes on the chord. And that's it, right? So let's see if we can play that whole thing together. So starting on the pickup towards the bridge. So here it goes. Slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Before we get into this section, there are two things that are good to know. First of all, every chord has the same upper structure with index finger in 5th of E, ring finger 8th of B, and pinky in 9th of the G string, right? The only thing that's going to change is going to be the bass note. The other thing is that the picking is also different. So instead of having a ring finger for E, we're going to have our middle finger belonging to the high E string, index finger for the B string, and our thumb playing either the basses or the G string, right? So that's a pretty significant change to what we have been playing. So the first chord is going to be that upper structure that we have here with an open E string. And in the first bar, we play the following pattern. So what do you play there? You play E, E, B, G, E, B, G, E. Like that, right? Then you repeat that pattern, but instead of having your low E string as your first note, you're going to have the G string as your first note. Like that. So together that makes this. Right? Then the pattern sort of stays the same, but now we're going to put our middle finger on 7th of our D string, creating an E minor add 11 with an A in the bass. And you play the same picking pattern. However, now the bass note is going to be on the D string. So like this. Like that. And then you play that again, but also with that D bass note. So those 4 bars together, 3, 4. Then we move our middle finger to 7th of our A string, and then you play the following thing. So what do you do there? So with that middle finger on 7th of A, you play the same picking pattern using that A string as your bass note. Doing that again. But then instead of playing the G string there, we sort of stretch your index finger, barring, and then playing 5th of D, and then with that high E string on 5th as well, right? So you get this. Then we move to that same upper structure with 7th on D on the bass note. So, and then at the end of that bar, we do this. We make a hammer-on, so like this. So everything is the same as what we did before with that E minor at 11 with A in the bass. But then at the end, you put your index finger on 5th of A, play it, and make a hammer with your middle finger in 7th. Right? Then we go back to our upper structure chord with that open E string. And you repeat the exact same thing. Going back to our middle finger in 7th of D. And then again, going to 5th of D, and then playing that followed by E string, right? So then going back to 7th on A as our bass note. A repeat, right? That again. And then you get this part, right? So that is 7th of D. And then you just play quarter notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right? So that is D, E, B, G, D. Followed by playing open B to 3rd of that B string. So that whole thing together, 1, 2, 3, 4. that brings us to the third verse. I'll play it for you first, and then we'll get into how to play that on the guitar. Here we go. All right, so as you can see, there isn't a huge difference between this verse and the verses that we already did. So I'll go through this a little bit more quickly than I normally would. So it starts with the same shapes. The only difference is that on that first beat, what you do is you do sort of a forward roll, right, on that chord. So you play A, D, G, B, right? And you roll it forward like that. And then making that hammer on with your pinky on fifth of that B string. And then the other thing is that you finish it on the fourth beat on that D string. Like that. Then you go here. Right, so you got E and B, D and G, and then you get down, thumb, and then up, down, up. Then you get this again. Here we get this part, right? So what you do is you have both middle finger and pointer finger in third of B and G, right? So that's quite a significant change. Playing D, then open B and G, and then open E, right? So that's all the same. Right? Then we got this again. Then you go to that second half, or the fourth verse, and there you play this. Then you get the fourth verse. I believe most of that is also the same. We'll still go through it a little bit. So you have that C add 9 sharp 11 chord, right? You play A, G, and B together with thumb, index, and middle finger, and then make a hammer with your pinky in fifth of your B string. Then it's D, E, A, and then third position of B, and then D string, right? Then you get that E minor add 9 chord, right? You sort of do either a forward roll on it or just with your thumb, or if you're using a thumb pick, just sort of arpeggiate down. Then you play the B string, and then you do a down and up stroke on D, G, and B. Like that, all with your thumb, so. Right? Then we go back to this. It's all still the same. And then we got this, right? So that is your D add 9 with F sharp in the bass. So that's ring finger in 3 of B, index finger in 2nd of G, and your thumb is on E2. And you just do, again, sort of an arpeggiated strum like that, down, or a forward roll like that. And then we get that melody going up, right? So that second verse, 3, 4. Now the rest is, again, all the same. Well, it's repeated, then we get this part. But then we get this part. And then. So what do you do there? So let's start with bar 93, right? So after having played this, we go back to that A minor chord. So you play A string with your thumb, then you play D and G string together, and then you play the D string once more with your thumb. So like that. Then add your index finger on first of B, play them together, pull off with your pointer finger, and then put it back on and play D, G, and B again, like this. Right? Then you go to the E minor chord, and then you play B and E together. Then you play D, G, E, E, D, G, right? Then you play E and E together, then D, G, and then E, E, D, B. My mistake, that D to B was actually both open. So like this. Right? And then it goes to the outro section. All right, so let's take it from interlude 2, which starts here. 3, 4. So interlude number 2, together, slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that brings us to the outro section. I'll play it for you first, and then we'll get into how to play that on the guitar. Here we go. So as you could see, this is pretty much the same thing as what we've played before in a previous section. You have that upper structure chord with index finger on 5th of E, ring finger 8th of B, and pinky on 9th of G, right? Starting with E as your bass note. And then going to 7th of D. Moving down to 5th of D. And then going to having that 7th of A string, climbing up to 7th of D, then back to 7th of A, climbing up to 7th of D, then doing the hammer on, right, from 5 to 7 on the A string, and then having that low E string, then having that climb up again, and then moving to 7th of D here. And there, the most significant change is that when you play that, it's just descending patterns from E to B to G. So you got this. Right? That's it, right? Then what you do is you play an E minor 9, right? And you do a forward roll and then a downward roll like that. Okay? So you can either do that with that thumb pick if you use it, or just with your thumb, right? And then if you're not using your thumb pick, you can sort of scrape it back up. Or what you could do if you're doing this with a classical guitar or just with fingerstyle is using your ring finger and then just, right, go back up. What's a really nice touch is that you go up like this, and then, right, going up, or sorry, a descending pattern, just a little bit closer to the bridge. But that's it. That is It's Never Too Late by Tommy Emmanuel. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you're into Tommy Emmanuel tutorials, then make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's more coming in the future, and I've done quite a few in the past. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again sometime. Bye.